You ever feel like your life's stuck on repeat? I'm not talking about doing the same job, eating the same lunch, watching the same shows. I mean really stuck. As in, everything happens the same way every time, down to the exact word, the exact weather, the exact goddamn traffic light turning yellow at the exact same second. I deliver pizza in a small town no one ever leaves. We've got 2 gas stations, 1 laundromat, and a movie theater that hasn't updated its posters since 2009. I never cared much. I liked the routine. Wake up, shower, clock in, deliver hot, greasy food to people who barely look you in the eye. But last Tuesday, things started to go wrong. It was 9:14 p.m., I remember, because the kitchen clock ticked just as Pete slid the last order across the counter. 212 Hemlock Street. I froze. I just delivered there an hour ago. Pete frowned. No, you didn't. They just called. He handed me the receipt. Same handwriting. Same name. Same pizza. 1 large mushroom and olive garlic crust. Extra marinara on the side. I shrugged it off. Drove out to Hemlock, already annoyed. The house looked exactly the same. Blue shutters, chipped mailbox, porch light flickering like it always does. The same old man answered wearing gray flannel. He had liver spots and cloudy eyes.
"You're early,"
he said, just like before. He handed me a $20, smiled too long, and closed the door without another word. I didn't think too hard about it until the next night. The same order to the same address. By the 4th night, I was spiraling. I tested people, said weird things, and dropped pizza on purpose. No one reacted any differently. It was like reading a script. Eventually, I tried to leave town. Just packed my stuff, fueled the car, and drove north on Highway 11. I never made it far. Every sign I passed said "Welcome to Pinebrook." Even though I was leaving Pinebrook, my gas never dropped, my odometer didn't budge, and eventually I ended up in front of Vito's again. Pete was outside smoking. "You okay?" he asked. I looked down at my hands. They were shaking, greasy, smelled like mushrooms and garlic crust. "No," I said. He smiled like I told a joke and handed me a delivery order. 212 Hemlock Street. I didn't go. I went home, boarded the door, and turned off my phone. I thought if I just ignored it, reality would forget me. Then someone knocked on my apartment door. I didn't move. They knocked again, harder. I peeked through the peephole and it was me, wearing the same hat, the same uniform, and had the same receipt in hand. He looked right at the door, cocked his head, and smiled. I blinked and he was gone. I thought about killing myself just to see what would happen, but I couldn't find anything sharp enough. The knives were gone, even the ones I hid in drawers. The next day, I woke up in the break room of Vito's, wearing my apron, holding a hot pizza box. Pete walked by and handed me a slip, 212 Hemlock Street. I didn't argue. I got in the car and drove the same cracked streets, turned left at the gas station where the pump's always broken, and listened to the same song on the radio skip at the same place. I knocked. The same man with the same smile answered.
"You're early."
This time, I pushed past him. Inside, the house was wrong. The living room stretched too far, like a hallway mirrored back on itself. The television was showing static, but I could hear whispers inside it. I walked to the kitchen. Every cabinet was labeled "Delivery" in Sharpie. I opened the fridge. It was empty except for dozens of pizza boxes, all labeled with my name. I turned around, and he was standing right there. The old man. He opened his mouth to speak.
"You're doing well. It took the last one much longer."
I backed away. "Last one?" He smiled.
"You're not the first, and you won't be the last."
I dropped the box, and it hit the floor with a wet slap. Inside wasn't pizza. It was a photograph of me standing on that porch, smiling, holding that same box. There were hundreds of photographs underneath, all taken from different angles, but they were all the same moment. I ran, but I wasn't fast enough. That was 3 days ago. Time's weird now. Every morning I wake up holding that box. Every night ends the same way. At that door, that man, that line.
You're early.
I've tried burning the place down. It always resets. I've tried warning the customers. They don't understand. The truth is, I think this whole town is a loop, a pocket, a knot in the thread of the world. And I'm the delivery boy it needs to keep spinning. The pizza's always hot. The order's always the same. And I'm always early. They never told me the job would involve this kind of fear. I signed up for cash, gas money, and maybe a few weird stories. But now I can't sleep. I can't be near mirrors, and I can't even hear a pizza box open without freezing up. This all started last Thursday. I work delivery for a small local joint, Vito's Pizza. We don't advertise. The regulars know us, and that's enough. That night was slow. I was about to clock out when a final order came in, handwritten on a scrap of receipt paper. 1 large sausage pizza, no cheese, delivered to Garnet Grove, address 13 Merrow Lane. I'd never heard of Garnet Grove. New development? I asked. Vito looked up from his sauce pot. He was sweating through his apron. Nah, he muttered. Not new, just forgotten. I was tired. I wanted to go home, but I needed the overtime money. I punched the address into GPS. No hits, just a pulsing blue dot off the main road near the industrial fields. No streets, no satellite view, just empty gray. Still, I drove out there. The turnoff was unmarked. 2 leaning wooden posts and a gravel road choked by overgrown weeds. I followed it, tires crunching slowly, radio dead silent. After 5 minutes, the world seemed to vanish. There were no buildings, no headlights, not even stars overhead, just clouds and a flat black sky. Then I saw the houses. They were identical to each other, perfect yet rotting. A cul-de-sac of homes that looked copy-pasted from a 1950s postcard and then left to mildew in the rain. Green lawns frozen in time, white picket fences half collapsed, and in the middle, under a single flickering lamppost, 13 Merrow Lane. The house was pristine, like new. Not a speck of dust on the windows. I grabbed the box and walked up the stone path. There was no wind, no bugs, just silence and a faint chemical tang, like plastic burning far away. The door opened before I knocked, and a man stood there in a brown sweater, mid-40s, balding, smile too wide. His skin looked smooth, too smooth, like it was freshly printed.
"You're early,"
he said, voice hollow. I tried to smile. 1 large sausage pizza, no cheese. That's pretty weird, by the way. He laughed. It echoed wrong.
"They like the meat. Bring it in, please."
I hesitated, then stepped inside. The house was spotless. Spotless in a way that felt inhuman, like a set piece, not a real home. Plastic couch covers and empty photo frames, magazines arranged perfectly by year on the coffee table, all dated August 1989. Then I noticed the mirrors. Every wall had one, full-length, silver-rimmed. All pointed inward, so there were dozens of reflections of me carrying that pizza. The man gestured to the dining table.
"Just leave it there."
I did. He placed a $50 bill beside the box.
"You'll stay for dinner? They know you're here. They are expecting you."
He turned away and began humming, something tuneless, circular, like a song meant to trap you. not entertain you. Then I heard rustling from inside the walls, like something with too many legs scraping through ducts.
They get hungry. I feed them meat. I used to use kids, but now I use delivery guys.
I backed toward the door. This is a joke, right? A prank? The floor behind him buckled. A hole opened in the hardwood. It was wet, pulsing. From it, something climbed out. It had no face, just a mouth and arms, not in the usual places, but randomly, twitching from its back, chest, even one dragging along the floor. Its skin looked like wet dough, stitched together with veins. The man smiled at it.
The meat is here.
I ran. I don't remember how I got out. I remember mirrors shattering as I passed. I remember teeth in the walls and fingers brushing my neck. But I got in my car and drove. I didn't stop until I saw streetlights again. When I got back, I stormed into Vito's, shaking. What the hell was that? What is Garnet Grove? Vito didn't even look at me. He handed me another slip. Same address, same order. Every week, he said softly, they tip big. Don't be ungrateful. I quit on the spot. Now I see them, in reflections, in windows, even in my phone screen. Not the man, the arm monster, smiling too wide, standing too still, and it's waiting to eat meat. I've delivered pizza for 8 years. Never once got robbed, mugged, or even stiff for a tip. Sure, I've seen some weird stuff, naked guys, bloodshot eyes, bizarre smells wafting from basements, but that's par for the course when you bring hot cheese to people at 2 a.m. That night started like any other. Friday, rain, and a stack of late-night orders. The pizzeria was dim and humming with fluorescent buzz. I remember the phone ringing, Pete scribbling an address, then tossing me the slip with a smirk. No phone number, he said. Cash on delivery. Special request. Come to the side door. Don't knock. Just wait. The address wasn't familiar. I'd memorized most of the routes around town, but this one? Valentine Street. Way out past the overpass, near the river, where the road starts crumbling and streetlights thin out. I didn't think much of it. Just an oddball night owl with a craving. I drove out with the box in my lap, a large pepperoni with extra cheese. The smell filled my car, warm and greasy and comforting. Out past the freeway, the rain picked up. Wipers squealed. Valentine Street appeared like a ghost. No streetlights, no houses for the first few blocks. Just chain-link fences and boarded-up windows. Finally, I found it. The house itself sat hunched behind dead trees, all gray wood and rotted trim. No porch light, no visible windows on the side. But there was a door. The side door. I parked, grabbed the box, and walked through ankle-high grass. The rain had tapered to a mist, and the air smelled sour, like mildew and wet paper. At the door, I waited. No knocking. That was the rule. 1 minute passed. Then 2. Just as I turned to leave, the door creaked open a sliver. A pale hand reached out, long fingers, cracked nails, and took the pizza box. Before I could say anything, the hand withdrew, and the door shut. I stood there, stunned. Then I knocked. No answer. I knocked harder. Nothing. I walked back to my car. I didn't even get a good look inside, but something about that hand stuck in my mind. It looked off. Not just pale, it was bloated and wet, like it had been submerged too long. Back at the shop, I told Pete, "No payment?" he asked, incredulous. He printed out the slip again, scribbled "no pay" on it, and added it to a pile under the counter of other customers that also hadn't paid. I glanced at the other slips. Most were old and yellowing. But I noticed something strange. Another at the same address, dated 2 months ago. You had a delivery there before? I asked. Pete frowned. What? I pointed to the slip. He pulled it out, stared at it for a long beat, then said, Look, same note. Come to the side door. Don't knock. I felt cold. I didn't want to go back there, but I couldn't stop thinking about that hand, about the way the door closed just a bit too quietly, like someone, or something, was trying not to make a sound. The next night, it happened again. Another large pepperoni with extra cheese. Same address. Same note. Pete handed me the box. You sure want to go to this guy? Yeah, I said. He owes us for the last order. I drove out again. The house was the same. Rotting. Silent. I walked to the side door and waited. After a minute, it opened. Just a crack, and the same hand reached out. I leaned forward and tried to see inside. There was no light, just blackness. Hey, I said, you forgot to pay last time. The hand paused and trembled slightly. Then it opened wider, as if inviting me to place the box deeper inside, and the smell hit me, decay like rotting meat. And then I heard something, not a voice, a sound, like breathing, but too many breaths layered on top of each other. Wet, gasping. I dropped the box and backed away, and the door slammed shut. I Googled the address. Nothing but an old city map from 1979 showing Valentine Street partially condemned. This address wasn't even listed. The next day during daylight, I returned with a crowbar. The house looked even worse by day. There were no birds, no wind, just an eerie silence. I pried the side door open, and the air inside hit me like a wall. Rot, mold, and something worse, like iron and vomit. It was pitch black, and I turned on my flashlight. The floor was covered in pizza boxes, dozens of them, all from our shop. Some were chewed open, others stacked neatly. And in the center of the room, something sat hunched, human-shaped, motionless, wrapped in a dark, wet sheet. I stepped closer, and it moved. Not like a person, more like something rearranging itself. The sheet fell away, and underneath were arms, so many arms, and faces melted together like wax. Every face was mine. Every one of them stared at me with wide, dead eyes. I ran. I quit the next day, told Pete I was done. But last night, a pizza arrived at my door. No label, no driver, no box, just a pizza, left steaming on my welcome mat. A large pepperoni with extra cheese. You ever notice how time moves differently at night? I used to think it was just exhaustion, that slow ooze of minutes while the world sleeps and you're still out there, engine humming, bag of lukewarm food on your passenger seat. But I've come to believe something else. Time breaks at night, especially when you're alone. I've been delivering pizza in my town since I was 20. The usual gigs, college kids, tired families, drunk 20-somethings who tip in crumpled bills. I know every shortcut, every dead end, every porch light that never turns on. It was a Monday, dead night, rain again. I was closing up, wiping sauce off the register when the phone rang. Pete, my manager, groaned. Last one, he said, reading the ticket. Weird, no street name, just The Rose, Unit 7. I asked if that was a joke. It sounded fake. Pete shook his head. GPS pings it way out in Orchard Glen. New development, I think. Probably some guy in a half-built condo. I hated Orchard Glen. The whole neighborhood was stalled. Developers went bankrupt mid-construction. Empty houses with plastic sheets for windows. Streetlights unfinished. Like someone built a suburb and just walked away. I figured I'd knock once, leave the pizza, and call it a night. The drive took 20 minutes. GPS glitched twice. There was no road sign. The houses looked like corpses. roof sagging, vinyl siding dangling like skin, but I found Unit 7 barely standing. The porch sagged under my weight and the door was ajar. I didn't want to go in, but the slip said, "Come inside, table in front room, leave pizza, tip waiting." I called out, "Delivery?" No answer. My stomach twisted. Every instinct told me to leave, but I stepped inside. The room was dark but dry, clean even. A single table stood by the wall with a candle flickering. On it, a note, "Thank you. Please wait." Next to it, $100 cash. Now, here's where things go wrong. I blinked. Suddenly, the candle was out. The pizza was gone. And the door was gone too. Not closed. Gone. Just flat drywall behind me. I spun around, heart hammering, and tried to retrace my steps. There had been a door. I entered it. Then I heard it. A voice from upstairs. Faint, crying. Not a child, but something trying to sound like one. I called out, "Hello, mister?" and backed toward the wall. The crying stopped. Then thumps, like something crawling along the ceiling. I tried to run, but there were no other rooms, no windows, just endless looping hallways. The layout kept changing. Every turn brought me back to the same table, same candle, same note. Except now the note said, "Thank you for staying." I screamed and pounded on the walls until my fists bled, then silence. I don't know how long I was in there. Time didn't work right. My watch ticked backward. The candle never burned down. I stopped feeling hunger. My phone had no signal, no clock, just a frozen screen. 2:13 a.m. Every once in a while, I'd hear a knock, faint, distant, like someone outside the walls. I'd scream, slam the floor, but there was no response. One day, if you can call it that, I found another pizza box on the table, still hot, with a new note. He was late. We took him instead. I opened the box. Inside was a hand, still clutching a pizza cutter. I don't remember much after that. Just screams, mine mostly. I think I broke something as my knuckles were black with bruises. Then, in one moment, without warning, the door was back, just sitting there like it had never left. I bolted through it and ran straight into the rain, gasping like I'd been buried alive. My car was there, engine off, windshield coated in dust. I drove back to the pizzeria shaking, heart ready to explode. But when I got there, it was closed and boarded up. There was rust on the sign and the windows were shattered. And on the door, someone had spray painted, "Shut down after Darren disappeared, 2017. My name is Darren. It's 2025. I lost 8 years in there. No one believes me. My family moved. My friends changed numbers. Pete's gone and the building's been abandoned for years. I live in a motel now, and some nights I hear a knock on the wall. Soft, rhythmic, like someone's waiting for a delivery.